Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Melora Hardin about Clock, which is going to be streaming on Hulu April 28th. Welcome back to the show. It's so good to see you again.
Thank you. So nice to see you too.
I mean, a little bit of change in pace in terms of the stuff we're talking about, because last time we talked about the Bold Type and The Office, you know what I mean? And a little change of pace, just a little, right?
Yeah, I would say it is for sure. Now we're talking about a psychological thriller / horror.
I mean, it read to me 50-50, like you just said. It read to me where it had a lot of the horror moments, but on the other side of things, it had a lot of the psychological, like a good balance of both. How did it read to you script-wise? Like, did it read to you more horror, more psychological, or a balance of both?
Yeah, I think there was a balance of both, but I also had the advantage of seeing Alexis Jacknow, who wrote and directed it, her short film, which was also called Clock. Mm-hmm. It was a Hulu short. Yep. And then which has been expanded into a feature on horror on Hulu. So, I knew what I was getting into when I was reading it. I was like, oh, it's going to be that. Okay, I like this.
It has kind of some of those kind of traditional horror tropes of the little kind of jump scares and the right. A little bit of the visuals and everything. But it has those kind of why did the doctor say that? You know what I mean? I feel uncomfortable, right? The dialogue, right? And everything. What was that like, basically, seeing the dialogue from your character where something is off the whole time? We don't waste time, but we know there's something going off with your character. Did you not waste time kind of realizing, there's something going on here, right?
Yeah, we knew what story we were telling. Let me put it that way, and we definitely were just kind of, rolling with the punches, trying to build the tension and create some good scares and some good tension. And I think we did it.
Absolutely. This isn't your first time working on a project in horror and thriller. There's been some here and there, but do you like working in the genre, would you say? Or is it a genre, do you prefer comedy or drama? Or is it all storytelling to you?
Yeah, it's all storytelling to me. It's super fun. And, it just depends really on what the story is you're telling. And every story has its own tone, its own way. So I love it.
You're a storyteller, but I want to talk about Storyboards by Melora Hardin, which is, that this is your collage style wallpaper line, which is really awesome. You've always loved collages though, right? But now it's finally kind of
That's right. Yes, I've been making collages all my life, but in making this documentary that I've been working on for the last 6 years, it kind of came to the forefront a little more because my subject Hunter really ended up using my collages as a tool for her healing. And then I met some people that, can blow, photograph everything so tiny and blow them up. And I think that we were finding that the collages I was making were kind of informing us about our story and the story we were telling through the documentary and her story. And it just became Storyboards by Melora Hardin. And now there's a line of wallpaper that are based on my art that are now available, and people can go to my website, melora.com, to check it out.
Absolutely. Melora.com. It's a great website. You were able to get Melora.com.
I know. I just because I got it right when websites started. I think it was my brother that said, you really got to get that. That's a thing.
That's so awesome.
I know. I'm grateful to him. He told me to get that, and he told me to buy my first house, and he told me to get braces, to get a line. 3 very important things that he was very much, you should do that.
No, there's a lot of cool ideas and little kind of side projects happening in that household. The Gildar had fireside reading, which was one of the best things during the pandemic.
Exactly. That's right. It is. And at firesidereading.com, people can look, or at fireside reading, or they can go to firesidereading.com.
You have all the websites.
Yes, that's right. I know, exactly. I know all the websites. We did good with those purchasing of those names. But yeah, he's still doing it, and he's still sometimes live. He's live every day at 5 Pacific time on Instagram, except on the weekends now. But
it's the best. I love that he's still continuing it on. Say hi to him for me if you see him, because I love the conversation we had with him. You look at your character in Clock, you look at Jan, you look at the Bull type. These are different characters, but I feel like in my opinion, there's a little bit of like the situations that they're all in at times are very kind of intense situations. There's tension. Even if it's funny with Jan in the office, there's tension. There's dinner party tension. You know what I mean? What is that like, kind of seeing tension in a script and kind of putting it live kind of on the screen, so to speak? Because I feel like it's difficult, right? Like that can be a hard thing. You see tension, but how are we going to put it on the screen specifically from the script?
Well, I mean, I think when you're reading a script, you definitely see where the jokes are, you see where the tension is, you see where the romantic tension is, or the dramatic tension is, or the comedic tension is. And you kind of you're plotting that and making those choices based on how you can most embody that and most fill that out to create what needs to be created there, with the help of your other fellow actors and the director and the editor and all those things, and the score. You know, so many things help to create that. So you just sort of have to find the truth for your character, you know. And once you really know what your character's doing, what they want, and how they're going to get it, you're good to go.
It's, you know, one of the things, because I'm a big horror movie fan, and and a lot of fans of this genre, they eat up all the content, and they eat up like everything kind of that could be kind of seen as horror, right? There's a lot of psychological thrillers that are kind of considered psychological thrillers, but really have kind of the horror kind of tropes in there a little bit, so they all like read them. I'm just curious, from kind of like making this movie, do you kind of maybe like, did it make you want to work on other horror movies down the road? Like, are you interested in more working in the genre more? Like, I'm just curious about that. I mean, the movie hasn't dropped, so you'll see the reaction soon, but like the horror movie fans, they love the content. Let's just say that.
I'm always looking for opportunities to be creative. Yeah. So if something creative came along that felt really creative and exciting to me, then sure, I'll do whatever genre that shows up in.
It's weird because I feel like I've always loved horror movies, and then they just became really popular at one point, and I was just kind of like, I guess I was just like, it was niche, I guess. Like, I always loved it, so it was funny for it to be this massive genre when I was already on board. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you were ahead of the curve.
It's super interesting. And then last kind of question before we wrap up. I mean, I'm really curious because Alexis did an amazing job directing this and everything. And what are those conversations like with Alexis on this project? You mentioned, you know, it's a challenge, I feel like, just on the surface of taking a short film and kind of developing it into a feature. But what were those conversations with the characters like, specifically with Alexis for this?
We did a table read. We did a little rehearsal. I was in one place. Dianna was in another place. Alexis was in another place prepping for the movie. So it was definitely, we had lots of conversations just about where the characters are coming from, what their point of view is, how they interact. There was a lot of discussion about how Dr. Simmons is yes, she's brilliant and she's cutting edge with what she does, but she's also kind of she connects to Ella in a very special way. Mm-hmm. And there's kind of a maternal quality to her, but also an intensity to her that can be somewhat unnerving at times. Yeah.
No, that's so well said. It's a great film. I can't wait for people to see it. Melora, so great catching up with you. Thank you for coming back on the show.
You're so welcome. So nice to see you again.
Absolutely. Quick plugs, Melora.com for Storyboards by Melora Hardin. FiresideReading.com. We got to shout that out. And
or my Instagram at Melora D. Hardin, or my Twitter at Melora Hardin.
And Clock is going to be streaming on Hulu April 28th, so they could check that out. Well, this has been Pop Turn. YouTube.com/Pop Turn for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Melora Hardin and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.